History has been made with XRP. Institutional investors are lining up. We got this great new clip with Stephen McClurg, the CEO of Canary Capital. We also have a ton of other XRP news and updates. How much ETF volume are we seeing? What's that going to do? Some new announcements with G Treasury. You got to see all of this. G Treasury and Trangelo, so much is happening. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
All I would say is that you're being really humble with some of your first mover advantage. So I'll be the one to say it.
Say it.
Your XRP launch was, as measured by daily trading volume on day one, the number one launch of all ETFs and ETPs in the US market this year. That is an absolutely insane stat. And so I'm going to use a round number of $60 million of daily, dollar volume on day one, which is just part and parcel to two things. Number one, you brought something to market where there was demand. And number two, the market wanted it and needed it. And so those type of liquidity parameters are something that really should be applauded. It should be applauded by the crypto industry. It should be applauded by the ETF industry. It should be applauded by the markets. So congrats to you guys. That's no small feat.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And really acknowledge my team as well. We've got great partners. We've got great lawyers, Chapman and Cutler, but we also have an outstanding team that, some of us have been working together for a long time.
Listen, the team is extremely important. It looks like they know exactly what they're doing at Canary Capital. They were able to get their product first to market, and that did so much for them. Almost doing $60 million in volume that first day is just truly incredible. Beating out 900 products in 2025. XRP has the top spot thanks to the team at Canary Capital. We're saying team a lot. All good. All right, here is another clip about XRP. This gentleman, I played clips from him before. He's often talks about the connection between Bank of America and Ripple and XRP. And new clip, 35 seconds. Let's go.
Because while many people are staring at the stock market, some of the biggest opportunities today are happening in hard assets and digital assets. So right now, crypto leverage has been wiped out over the last few months, completely washed out, in fact. We're at historic lows. And every time leverage resets like this, it creates the conditions for a powerful move higher. I believe that we're setting up for a meaningful crypto rally into the end of the year. I'm looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple. These are the infrastructure plays. This is where we could see momentum build quickly.
All right, fair enough. Love to hear it. Paul Barron said Wall Street is moving into the neighborhood, commenting on this new thing from Bitwise, milestone day for the XRP community. I was like, where did it go? It's hiding from me. This morning, the Bitwise XRP ETF began trading on the New York Stock Exchange. With today's launch, investors have a new convenient way to get spot exposure to XRP, the crypto asset looking to disrupt the $250 trillion market for global payments. And it talks about why is it intriguing, talks about 13 years. Of course, the XRP army, a super passionate community of supporters. I love that. All right. And then of course the market cap and a few other things, but a lot of news. The reason this is all important is all these companies are doing marketing around XRP. It gets in front of more investors, right? And this is what we need. We need another 500,000. We need another million people coming in and buying XRP, because I think everybody, right? We're still trying to add where we can, but a lot of people are fine with their bags and they have stopped adding. So you need that new demand. You need that new supply crunch. And we are starting to finally get it. All right. And Chad Steingraber says Bitwise, basically 8.8 million, Canary 5.7 million, total volume looking like today 14.6 million so far. Obviously, people are wondering why the price is below $2. They have been buying a lot of this XRP off of, dark pools and OTC desks. Once those dry up, ladies and gentlemen, it will be towards the Coinbases and the Upholds of the world. Once we can deplete that XRP, then where are you going to get the XRP from, right? Ripple? Ripple is in a power position right now, right? Because they can decide whether they want to sell this XRP or not. They can even say, hey, we're going to demand maybe a higher premium for this XRP. You want a deal? You should have came to us 2 years ago when we were still battling the SEC. Now, all we have behind us is momentum. We got the tailwinds. We have regulation, the EVM sidechain. We have the G Treasury, Ripple Prime. There's so many things happening positive for Ripple right now. Ripple is in the driver's seat. All right, Smoke Dog says the momentum behind XRP ETFs is only starting to build. Expect this list to expand soon, featuring some of the most influential names in finance. And remember, some of these people, some of these investors are waiting for their product that their institution is going to launch, right? Not all products are created equally. Not all institutions are the same. And so people like to invest where they are most appreciated and taken care of. And if you've had a brokerage account for 10 years or 20 years with, let's say, Franklin Templeton, you are going to wait for Franklin Templeton to offer that product. And you might obviously get a better deal by waiting, right? The price was $220 or $230 earlier last week. Now it's $2. So people are going to be able to buy more for less, and that is extremely important. And then, of course, let's do it. Daily net flows for Canary and Bitwise XRP so far, visualize. So this is kind of what you are looking at. Obviously, this initial first day is huge demand. And then, of course, we're going to start building. When we get more ETFs, this will start growing and growing and growing. And sooner or later, guys, this is all going to come to fruition. XRP ETF volume upside as of November 20th, 2025. Daily total net inflows around 118 million. Cumulative total so far, $410 million. That is some pretty sexy green bars here. And I also wanted to get a little bit more information if the current daily, so I wanted to see if this volume kept up towards the end of the year, what kind of will we see? And so here are those numbers. If the current daily net inflow volume for spot XRP ETF remains steady until the end of 2025, the projected cumulative net inflows could reach approximately 5.25 billion US dollars with roughly 2.6 billion XRP purchased. Now, these are just the two ETFs that are already launched. This is not including the other 6 or 7 that are right behind us launching next week. So you start to say, hey, we are getting there slowly but surely. All right, in calculation details, projected cumulative inflows with a daily net inflows of 118 million. Maintaining this until December 31st would bring the total net inflows approximately 410 million today to 5.25 billion by the end of the year. Projected XRP purchased around 2.62 billion. We know there's only about 3 billion XRP left on exchanges, so the XRP would have to come from you and I or institutional holders. All right, let's shift gears here. G Treasury and Trangolo, Ripple and XRP. We have some new information. Trangolo, a leading cross-border payments provider, uses Ripple payments to enable instant transactions across complex corridors. Results include access to 100 financial institutions and partners globally through Ripple's network, supporting 5,000 payout partners across 70 countries, end-to-end payment processing in less than a minute, 24/7 liquidity access, including weekends, holidays, and making operations seamless. And so they put out this kind of new 20-second ad here, creating CFO value. And so this is just kind of, I guess, an ad for this. I did want to get some additional information here. Ripple's $1 billion acquisition of G Treasury is a transformative deal which substantially expands their use cases, demand, and institutional credibility of XRP, giving Ripple direct footprint into the multi-trillion-dollar corporate treasury sector and instant access to hundreds of enterprise clients worldwide. How Ripple and XRP benefit? That's a great question, audience. Thank you so much for asking that. By integrating G Treasury's infrastructure, Ripple can now offer instant cross-border transactions and automated cash management to Fortune 500 companies and large multinational using XRP and RLUSD. The cool thing here is these customers at G Treasury. Imagine every company that competes against these Fortune 500 companies. There's lots of them. There's thousands of them, right? All of these companies are trying to fight for market share and you know, all of this stuff, volume, business, and dollars and clients. This really does put pressure on all of those other companies competing against the companies that now have access to Ripple solutions, right? Because now all of these companies that have access can do much more with their money. If you take a look at Ripple Prime, right, which was Hidden Road, Ripple came in and since May has been able to 3x their business. In just 6 months or 7 months, they 3x the business. If they are able to do that with G Treasury could go from clearing 12.5 trillion to clearing what, 30 trillion a year? 40 trillion a year. That's where things could get really exciting. The growth and the adoption, and of course, the pressure on all of these other companies. So you are in kind of like a race now to adopt the latest and best technology, because if you don't, you are at a disadvantage. And that is why I am so bullish. Even as the price goes down, I am all smiles because I know where this is heading. All right, the incorporation of XRP into this sector means treasurers and CFOs can leverage the on-demand liquidity, freeing up trapped capital, massively reducing payment times from days to seconds, and improving cash forecasting, risk management, and compliance through blockchain rails. With G Treasury's relationship spanning over 1,000 enterprise clients in 160 countries, potential institutional adoption of XRP is set to increase, which could create natural sustained buying pressure on the token, especially as businesses increasingly use XRP as a bridge asset for global flows. Services like Trangolo now power on-demand liquidity, reduce costs by 70 cents. And we did talk about 70 countries and 5,000 plus payout partners. And the significance and scale here, this marks Ripple's third acquisition of the year, moving the company from just cross-border payments to full spectrum corporate finance, and now able to embed XRP into real world cash and liquidity flows from some of the world's largest companies. And then for context, corporate treasury payments market targeted by Ripple and G Treasury is valued at 120 trillion annually. And we're starting to get more and more information about smart contracts on the XRP ledger. Very cool explainer. This is Wrath Economan, of course. And then I guess the person explaining here is this gentleman here. I'm not going to butcher his name. Nothing official, but a clean overview of the XRP ledger smart contract architecture that is being pursued. So let's take a look at this from left to right here. So the core architecture says contracts live on pseudo accounts. Each contract is hosted on a special account with no private keys. And it says triggered by contract call transaction. Users interact with contracts by sending a new specific transaction type. And then on the bottom here, it says contracts interact via native transactions. To change the ledger state, contract code submits standard XRPL transactions. And on the right side here, it says features, use cases, and security, which is extremely important for financial institutions. It says DeFi protocols, bridging solutions, and token staking reward systems. And in the middle here, you have it's a WASM, and of course, secure, fast, language flexible, powered by high performance WASM VM, uses WebAssembly for secure, fast, and language flexible execution environment. And then, of course, build new DeFi protocols, bridging solutions, or token staking reward contracts. Remember, when we create these staking contracts, obviously do research before you lock up any of your XRP. That's where you need to talk with a financial advisor. But when you're reducing the amount of XRP that is circulating, right, you're bringing that number down, that brings the price up. So when you have Flare, when you have Charles Hoskinson Midnight, when you have some of these new DeFi layers that are being built out in these staking contracts, if we can start reducing that supply from 65 billion to 50 billion to 40 billion to 20 billion, the price is only going to start increasing. Then you throw on the ETF demand, then you throw on the EVM sidechain, then you throw on, adoption and regulation and all these things. They're all coming to a head at once. It's exciting. All right, virtual machine, interaction model, ABI storage, native features, code efficiency. Here's some more of the, if you want to pause it and read through that, please do. I just wanted to put that on your radar. And the SEC is making moves here. The US SEC has officially approved New York Stock Exchange ACRA's rule change to list and trade the Bitwise 10 crypto index ETF. So if you're not familiar with what these are, so you have the, like Spot XRP, Spot Solana, those are individual ETFs. The index are more of a group of assets. So if you're not sure whether you want this one or this one, but you want access to maybe the top 10 or Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Sol, ADA, SUI, Link, AVAX, Litecoin, and DOT, you can now invest in one product that invests in all of these things. So a lot of people are going to be very interested in this. Also opens up the market to more products. And of course, what this means for XRP and the rest of the industry, institutional access and liquidity, the ETF structure approved by the SEC allows money managers, pension funds, and other traditional investors to buy XRP via familiar brokerage accounts, overcoming past compliance barriers and custody concerns. Of course, the market impact early signs show a notable uptick in both trading volume and open interest for XRP derivatives and excitement for anticipations that is building around ETF-linked inflows and market exposure. Basically saying here, guys, we have a lot more products coming on the market, a lot more institutional money that can flow in. And of course, retail was here first. Institutions are coming after. Once that all kind of takes place and happens, these assets that we are holding probably won't be in that speculative value anymore. They're going to go towards that utility value. And that is where it's going to get really exciting. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Crypto Sensei. If you like the video, guys, you can like, share, leave a comment below. Anyways, just thank you for being here. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, a great holiday season coming up. If you're here in the United States, happy Thanksgiving. Whatever you celebrate globally, I hope you have a truly fantastic time with your family. Take care. I'll see you next time. Peace.